This week's tip is about how to do a cast on that is extra stretchy at the bottom. And it's useful for things like lace where you might have a scalloped edge and you don't want the first row pinched, or the first row of entrelac if you're doing a base row. And a lot of knitters think that if you want to stretch your cast on, you use a larger needle or you hold two needles together and just do your regular cast on. Yeah, that will make it a little stretchier, but it's going to make the first row of stitches look very sloppy. And what's good about this method is that the stitches are on your working needle that you want, and the extra space between the needles is held on this needle. And I discovered this cast on when I was doing a lace project in June Hemmings Hyatt's book, The Principles of Knitting. And if you've ever used her book before, you know that she uses a unique set of terminology, which for people who get it, great. People who don't, like me, it's very painful to work through. And when I finally figured this thing out, I was thrilled. Now, to do this, you need your working needle and then a needle at least 2 sizes smaller. And what you do is it's basically a long tail cast on, so you set up as for the long tail cast on, and like all long tail cast ons, you insert the needles into that first loop. But where this differs is I'm going to get the loop from my forefinger on that needle, and I'm going to pull it down, and then I'm going to catch the loop from my thumb on the lower needle. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to tighten that up. Now, this step is something that Hyatt has you do to tighten up that bottom row of stitches, the bottom loops of stitches, so that they're not over large. And what it does is it kind of locks it and tightens them up. So what you do is you twist the yarns up and away from you and around. And what that does is it creates a little loop on the bottom. Now, if you don't do that, it's fine, but it's going to make the bottom edge larger and more easy to snag. So again, what it is, I'm just gonna, this part's exactly like the long tail, but how it differs is I'm going to catch the loop on my forefinger and pull it through, and then I'm going to catch the loop on my thumb onto that bottom needle. I'm going to pull it tight and I'm going to twist it around, and then I'm ready to go. In, top needle from forefinger, pull it through, bottom loop from thumb, bottom needle, and I'm going to twist. In both through the loop, catch just the forefinger loop on the top needle, catch the bottom loop from the thumb on the bottom needle, and twist it clockwise, up and around. And you just keep doing this until you've got all the stitches that you want. Now, once you've got the stitches that you need, you pull out that bottom loop. And it looks like, oh my God, it's going to be terrible. And if you stretch these stitches along, you'll see that those little loops kind of expand. And I'll get my needle and I'll work a couple of rows. And this is a very sturdy, thanks to that little twist step at the end. And again, you can omit that. And what it'll do is, in my blog, I'll have a photo of one with and one without, so you can compare. And this is going to be an extra loose cast on, very good for lace or other types of projects where you just need a bit of extra give. And you can see that it's a nice looking cast on, but there is more space between those stitches. So if I were to do a picot, I would have the extra, if I had this were lace, I would have the extra room and I'd get a nice smooth edge that I can block flat. So that is the double needle cast on, as Hyatt calls it. And I think it does provide a nice loop. Now, for more information, go into my blog, and I will have photos of all of this so that you can compare.